You think being a medieval knight was glorious. Try strapping 110 pounds of steel to your body in the summer heat, not bathing for weeks, and knowing any infection could kill you in days. Today, I'm taking you through one actual day in a knight's life, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be grateful you weren't born in 1350. Let's go. 4:30 a.m. A castle in England, 1347. Our knight Sir William is jolted awake by his teenage squire. There's no gentle alarm here. The stone chamber is freezing, maybe 40 degrees. William slept in his linen underclothes, which he's worn for 3 days straight. Medieval people didn't have pajamas and laundry. That happened maybe once a month if you were lucky. First order of business, a bath. And by bath, I mean a cloth dunked in ice-cold water to wipe your face and armpits. William's skin is covered in rashes from the constant friction of armor and wool. Those angry red welts, bug bites. Lice, fleas, and bedbugs were constant companions. Scratching them was as routine as breathing. Now the dressing process begins. First, a fresh linen shirt, then woolen hose tied to a belt. Then comes the gambeson, a thick padded jacket stuffed with cotton or wool. This thing is crucial because it's the only thing between your skin and 110 pounds of metal. But here's the problem. It's already making William sweat, and he hasn't even put on the armor yet. The armor comes next, and this isn't a 5-minute process. Starting with the sabatons on his feet, then greaves on his shins, cuirass protecting the thighs. Each piece is strapped, buckled, and tied. William can't do this alone. Without his squire, he's helpless. A knight getting dressed was a 2-person job minimum. Now the breastplate, weighing about 30 pounds alone. Then the backplate, pauldrons for the shoulders, rerebraces for the upper arms, vambraces for the forearms, and finally, the gauntlets. We're 20 minutes into William's day, and he's already exhausted. The armor distributes weight across the body, but make no mistake, carrying an extra 110 pounds is brutal. 5:30 a.m. Breakfast in the Great Hall. William sits down, still in full armor because he has training in 30 minutes. Breakfast is dark rye bread, salted fish, and small beer, a weak, barely alcoholic beverage because well water could literally kill you. Milk, rare and expensive. Coffee, doesn't exist in Europe yet. This is your fuel for the next 6 hours. 6:00 a.m. Training. Even experienced knights train daily. William approaches the pell, a thick wooden post, and begins sword drills. Each swing of his longsword, which weighs 3 to 4 pounds, doesn't sound like much until you're swinging it 200 times in armor. His shoulders are screaming. Sweat is already pooling inside his gambeson. It's only been 90 minutes since he woke up. Next, mounted drills. Getting onto a warhorse in full armor required help. 2 squires literally boost William into the saddle. The horse, a massive destrier bred for war, can carry the weight, but even these animals got tired. William practices charging with a lance. Miss your target. The quinton spins and whacks you in the back of the head. It happened. A lot. 8:00 a.m. Here's something no movie shows you: bathroom breaks. You can't just unzip medieval armor. When nature calls, William needs his squire to unbuckle at least 6 straps on the lower armor. The process takes 5 minutes. And yes, accidents happened. Knights literally wet themselves in battle because there was no time to de-armor. This was a known, humiliating reality. 10:00 a.m. Armor off finally, but William's not relaxing. Knights weren't just warriors, they were landowners and administrators. He spends the next 2 hours reviewing accounts, settling disputes between peasants, checking grain stores, and planning repairs to his manor. Being a knight meant paperwork. Lots of it. Medieval bureaucracy was very real. Noon, the main meal of the day. Roasted meat if you're lucky, pottage stew, more bread. Eating was communal and fast. No forks yet, just knives in your hands. Washing hands before meals was crucial, but during meals, you're wiping greasy fingers on bread or your clothes. Table manners existed, but they were different. Burping was fine. Spitting, expected if you had a bone. 1:00 p.m. Weapon and armor maintenance. This was non-negotiable. Rust was your enemy. William and his squire spend hours oiling blades, checking armor for cracks, replacing broken chainmail rings. One weak link in your chainmail could mean a blade pierces through. One rusty sword joint could jam in combat. Maintenance wasn't glamorous, but it kept you alive. 3:00 p.m. Estate inspection. William rides through his lands, checking on harvest progress, talking to his reeve, the village manager. Nights depended on peasant labor for income. Bad harvest. Less money. Less money meant you can't afford to repair your armor or pay your soldiers. This wasn't just a ride, it was financial survival. 4:00 p.m. Back in armor for formation drills. Knights trained together because medieval warfare was about units, not individuals. Shield walls, cavalry charges, flanking maneuvers. One knight breaking formation could get everyone killed. These drills were exhausting and dangerous. Broken bones from practice fights, common. Concussions, weekly occurrence for some. Here's the dark truth: injuries were constant. Today, William's training partner took a practice sword to the hand. 2 fingers are broken. The castle physician, usually a monk, sets them with wooden splints and prayers. No painkillers except willow bark tea or wine. Infection risk, about 50-50. Many knights died from training injuries, not battles. 6:00 p.m. Armor removal. William has been in full or partial armor for nearly 12 hours. As each piece comes off, you can see the relief, but look closer. Red pressure marks cover his shoulders and hips. The gambeson underneath is soaked with sweat. It smells terrible. He'll wear it again tomorrow. The leather straps have rubbed his skin raw in places. William inspects his body. New bruises on both thighs from the saddle. The old shoulder injury from 3 months ago still aches. That's from a tournament where his opponent's lance shattered against his pauldron. The impact broke his collarbone. It healed, sort of, but it never stopped hurting. Chronic pain was just part of being a knight. 7:00 p.m. Supper. Lighter than the midday meal. More pottage, cheese, bread. William sits with his wife and household. Conversation is quiet. Everyone's tired. Entertainment might be a traveling minstrel if they're lucky, but tonight it's just the crackle of the fire and the sound of spoons scraping bowls. Medieval evenings were dark and quiet. 8:00 p.m. Evening prayers in the castle chapel. This wasn't optional. Knights were expected to be pious. William prays for protection, for a good harvest, for his lord's success. Religion permeated every aspect of medieval life. A knight's code of chivalry was deeply tied to Christian values, even if reality often fell short of the ideal. 9:00 p.m. Bedtime. In winter, William might sleep in wool clothing for warmth. The chamber is freezing again. A small brazier provides minimal heat, but it's a fire hazard, so it's put out before sleeping. He climbs into bed. That straw mattress still has bugs. They'll bite him tonight. He'll scratch in his sleep. Tomorrow it all starts again. But wait, twice a month, William has night watch duty. That means no sleep. He patrols the castle walls in partial armor for 6 hours, watching for raiders, bandits, or rival lords. In winter, men literally froze to death on night watch. Guards fell asleep and were executed for dereliction of duty. It was brutal. Let's talk tournaments. Movies make them look glorious. Reality, they were incredibly dangerous. Knights died regularly. In 1240, at a tournament in Cologne, 60 knights died in a single day. Lances shattered and sent splinters through eye slits. Horses collided and crushed riders. Tournaments were barely controlled violence, and knights participated because glory and prize money were worth the risk. Real warfare was worse. Battles were rare, sieges were common. That meant months living in camps, eating bad food, dealing with dysentery, watching friends die from infected wounds. The glory of medieval combat was mostly standing in mud, waiting, hungry, scared. When battle came, it was chaos. Screaming, blood, confusion. Knights vomited inside their helmets from fear and exertion. Here's what really killed most knights: disease. A simple cut could become septic. Food poisoning was common. Dysentery killed more soldiers than swords. Typhus, tuberculosis, smallpox. Even wealthy knights had no defense against these. The average life expectancy for a knight who survived childhood, maybe 45 if he was lucky. Constant physical trauma aged bodies fast. Money was constant stress. A full suit of armor cost as much as a village produced in a year. Maintaining horses, paying squires, replacing broken equipment, tournament fees. Many knights went into debt. Some became bandits to survive. The romantic image of the wealthy knight. Most were one bad harvest away from financial ruin. Social hierarchy crushed you. Knights served lords, lords served kings. One wrong word to your superior could mean losing your lands. Refusing a command, even a suicidal one, meant dishonor and exile. Your entire family's future depended on staying in favor. The stress of medieval politics killed as surely as swords. Backstabbing was literal. William has 3 children. His eldest son, 12, is already training to become a knight. The boy is terrified but can't show it. Weakness means shame for the entire family. His daughters will be married off for political alliances. Love, irrelevant. This is business. William knows his son will face the same brutal life he has. There's no escape from the cycle. Nobody talked about it, but knights suffered what we now call PTSD. William has seen friends die. He's killed men in combat. Those memories don't fade. He has nightmares. Some knights drank heavily. Others became violent. Medieval society had no concept of mental health treatment. You dealt with trauma alone in silence, or you were considered weak. By 40, most knights were physically broken. Arthritis from old wounds. Missing teeth from bad nutrition and fights. Chronic pain everywhere. Young knights saw veterans as warnings of what's coming. But you couldn't retire. You fought until you physically couldn't, then hoped your children would care for you. Many old knights ended up in monasteries, their bodies too wrecked for anything else. But here's the thing, despite everything there were moments, winning a tournament and hearing the crowd roar, your lord commending you after a successful campaign, your son's pride watching you train. These rare moments of glory, respect, and purpose, they were why knights endured. For brief seconds the pain was worth it. That's what kept them going. So let's be clear about what knights actually were. Professional soldiers from wealthy families who could afford equipment. They trained constantly, lived in chronic pain, dealt with bureaucracy, and faced death regularly. They weren't magical heroes. They were tough, disciplined, often brutal men doing a job that would destroy most people. Respect them for what they actually were, not the fantasy. William is training the next generation. He's showing his squire the same techniques his mentor taught him. This knowledge passed down for centuries. The pain, the sacrifice, the discipline, it all served a purpose in medieval society. Knights were the military elite, but they paid for that status with their bodies, their mental health, and often their lives. It's 9:00 p.m. again. William is back in his chamber. Another day survived. Tomorrow starts the same way. 4:30 a.m. wake up, the cold chamber, the armor, the training. Every day for decades. This was the real life of a medieval knight. No magic, no fairy tales, just brutal, relentless routine in service of a code and a society that demanded everything from you. So the next time you watch a movie with a gleaming knight charging into battle, remember Sir William. Remember the bugs, the broken bones, the financial stress, the disease, the chronic pain. Being a knight meant choosing to live one of the hardest lives imaginable every single day. That's not romantic. That's hardcore. If this shattered your image of knights, smash that like button. Subscribe for more brutal history truths. Next video, we're covering medieval execution methods and the people who survived them. Drop a comment telling me which historical profession you want exposed next. Thanks for watching, and remember, the past was way harder than you think.